adding Trey Mancini, Christian Vazquez. Jose Siri is gone as part of that trade deadline approaches. I'm Vanessa Richardson. That's Paul Gallant. Sean Mapes behind the glass, as always, and we hope everybody's having a good day. This was a crazy day last night.
Yeah, they also traded Jake Odorizzi to Atlanta for a lefty reliever. Right. And,
as of this morning.
You also got a minor league pitcher in that trade to Jaden Murray from Tampa Bay. First reaction to it, Vanessa, you are better. And you didn't have to give up a whole lot that's going to affect you long-term to get better. How much better, I think, remains to be seen, but it's pretty exciting to get a guy in Trey Mancini who is beloved in Baltimore and a guy in Christian Vazquez who is clearly an upgrade at the plate from Martin Maldonado.
Very solid. Trey Mancini has a great bat. They've already done some, people on Twitter, Astros fans, baseball folks have already done some evaluation of how much further his balls that he hits will be in Minute Maid Park than Camden Yards.
Because they moved in left field 26 feet for some reason. Well,
he said he's really excited about that. I think Astros fans now, I like that you brought up how much better, because one of the questions people brought up that I think is a legitimate one is, okay, well, where's Michael Brantley? We need an update on that. Where are we at with that as far as the roster as a whole? But it's definitely an exciting addition. And like you said, we were sitting here talking about, all right, what's the most you would give up for one of these guys that can really make a difference? Love you, Jose Siri, but as part of a 3-team deal, not too bad. And then, like you said, they were able to get some love for Jake Odorizzi as well.
They did trade Chase McDermott, who supposedly is good. Who knows, though? Minor leaguers, you never know. It's basically like 5 years later, you might be saying, oh, crap, we had that guy, and we traded him for a rental. But as far as Mancini goes, Mancini, right? I keep on butchering it.
It is Trey Mancini, yes.
Okay, so as far as Mancini goes, my buddy covered him in Baltimore and gave me a scouting report, and he said when he's bad, he is really, really bad. When he is good, he's totally locked in. He's extremely streaky, and his fly balls in Minute Maid Park, as you mentioned, because of the left field, should potentially go a little bit further, given the fact that the Crawford boxes exist. He had been in an 0 for 26 slump not too long ago. He was just able to get out of it. He is a decent first baseman, but I think more than anything, my friend said, like, this guy is the most stand-up of stand-up dudes, just a wonderful person.
Well, he did go through cancer,
right? And on top of that, was really close friends with this Mariners super fan who used to call into Baltimore sports talk radio all the time, named Mo Gaba. He was really close with the guy. The poor kid passed away. But this guy's, I think, going to be extremely well liked, and I hope that he delivers. I think that given that New York also made some moves and brought in a couple of guys that have historically been pretty good against the Houston Astros, Frankie Montes, who's 8-5 and 13 starts against Houston, and Lou Trevino, who's not having a very good year, but is pretty good against Houston historically. You got to wonder, was this enough in the arms race to give you the best possible chance of beating a New York team in a possible playoff series?
I think it was Jeff Passan that said it best on the preview into Baseball Tonight, where he talked about the Astros made a lot of moves, the Yankees made a lot of moves. So both of the best teams in baseball, for all intents and purposes, made a lot of moves. And they may not be done yet. James Click is in win now mode. Here's what Click said about the goal of this trade deadline.
You ready? Yeah. James, your thoughts about the two trades you made?
Well, they're two guys that we're really excited about bringing into the organization, and we think that they can help out the team this year. Our focus, obviously, is try to put ourselves in as best a position as we can to compete for a World Series this year. And these are two guys that we think can help us get there.
So that was obviously before the Odorizzi trade was final, which is why he said, excited about the addition of those two guys.
I am interested by what role both of those players will have, because the Astros are in a very strange spot. The outfield depth, you lose a bit of it with Jose Siri, not acting like Jose Siri is somebody that you want out there every single day. But also with Michael Brantley injured, as you mentioned, where do you put Mancini? Is he going to just go into first every single day? Does that mean Yuli becomes a defensive replacement? Is Mancini someone that you use in the outfield sort of the same way that you use Jordan Alvarez occasionally in the outfield too? And I would say specifically left field. I'm not putting him anywhere else. And I'm also, trying to figure out how often are we going to see Christian Vazquez. And Dusty Baker, when he weighed in on the two newest acquisitions, did have something interesting to say about what he sees Vazquez roles. Here's Dusty Baker talking about that.
You guys make the move today for Trey Mancini. What are your impressions of him? What are your initial thoughts about his role?
Well, I don't really know him, but I've followed him and talked to him a couple times in the past. You know, we both are cancer survivors, and he's a heck of a guy, I understand, a heck of a guy on the team. Not really sure. You know, we're going to try to get him in when I think is the best, for him and for us.
You get another veteran catcher, Christian Vazquez, a lot of experience in the postseason. How do you envision maybe splitting time between he and Martin?
Well, I haven't really, figured that out yet. I mean, Martin's like, directing our team. I mean, and directing our pitching staff. So I'm going to use both of them. I got two heck of a catchers now, two experienced guys. He can pinch run for Maldi. He can pinch hit for Maldi on days that he plays, and I just let him play.
A little interesting. No? What he was saying about Christian Vazquez. And I say from this perspective, look, Dusty has to figure out who the guy is. And let's be honest, it's not like Dusty Baker is keeping track of all of baseball, as he proved at the All-Star game with Shane McClanahan. Is Vazquez going to be the guy that's in the lineup more often than not? I feel like he should be. I know that there's a lot of love for Machete here, and that also, interestingly enough, Maldonado and Vazquez are supposedly friends. But I am a big believer that you want the better hitting catcher out there as much as possible. And I get it. Maldonado calls a great game. But I want to have as many bats in that lineup as I possibly can have. And I was listening to Jake Arrieta on the Pardon My Take podcast yesterday, talking about how, like, all these catchers are big league catchers. Yeah, some maybe are better at calling a game than others. But, when you actually have a bat and Christian Vazquez, who's hitting, close to 300 as a catcher, you got to give that guy as many opportunities as you possibly can. And you're hearing it from Dusty Baker right there. At least his first reaction is, oh, yeah, pinch runner. Oh, yeah, he'll hit occasionally for Maldonado. Oh, Maldonado's our guy. I don't know. I don't know if they should be so married to the idea of only Maldonado or mostly Maldonado.
How does this shake up potentially the way that the standings go, the playoff picture? Do you think this helps the Padres monumentally, or are we just spoiled here in Houston because every time Houston makes a big move, it seems to work out?
I think that you do have a really good track record here, and that even when you see these moves outside, you shouldn't get too tempted to try to move things like this. To their credit, just about every move that they have done has worked out. I mean, really, I'm trying to think of the last time that the Astros have biffed when it comes to moving on from a player. And honestly, it's probably JD Martinez, right? Who is also potentially on the trade block with the Boston Red Sox right now in the last year of his contract. Because Martinez was here with the Astros, and then all of a sudden he goes to, I think, Detroit and then Boston eventually. And he was really good with both of those teams. But, that's a totally different general management group too. But, yeah, I mean, they win the trades that they're in. I do want to say, though, and I'm going to say it a couple of times, I like what the Astros did. They incrementally improved, but this trade does not mean that they are all of a sudden going to win the American League Championship Series against the New York Yankees, which we think is going to happen. Because the biggest problem right now is the play of Jeremy Pena and the play of Kyle Tucker. And I saw a couple of tweets about this last night, Vanessa, and I was taking a look at the numbers. And what's pretty crazy to see is that over the course of the last month, Pena's OPS has dropped from his average has dropped from 279 to 249. His OPS has dropped from 807 to 732. He had 2 strikeouts last night in big-time moments. And Kyle Tucker, who was 0 for 4, his average has dropped from 262 to 240 over that same stretch. His OPS from 857 to 775. So, in a nutshell, both those guys are hitting horribly. And unless they are able to pull out of this slump, I don't know. I don't feel great. The Astros aren't scoring a ton of runs of late.